ọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí ó ti kọjá bẹ́ẹ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ orílẹ̀-èdè yìí, orílẹ̀-èdè tá a wà yìí Ọlọ́run nìkan ló lè kó wa yọ, nítorí wípé ohun tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀, àwọn iṣẹ́ láabi, iṣẹ́ burúkú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí tó jẹ́ pé a dẹ̀ ráwọn ẹni tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ láabi yìí. A rí gbogbo àwọn ohun ìjà olóró tíjọba ò fọwọ́ sí kí ẹnikẹ́ni kó ní lẹ́yìn ìjọba, tí wọ́n ń kó dání káàkiri, tí wọ́n fi ń pa wá lọ́tùn, tí wọ́n ń pa wá lósì, tí wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn nínú chọ́ọ̀chì, tí wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn nínú oko, tí wọ́n ń yá wọ skul, tí wọ́n ń yá wọ àárín ìlú, tí wọ́n ń pa àwọn èèyàn, tí wọ́n ń kó àwọn èèyàn tó jẹ́ wípé agbára ìjọba gangan kò ká wọn, tó ti wá hàn dájú sáká wípé agbára ìjọba ò ká wọn, tó wá jẹ́ wípé àwọn tí ó ṣẹ̀, àwọn tí ń jà fún ẹ̀tọ́ òun lágbára ìjọba ká, tí wọ́n mú wọn, tí wọ́n tì wọ́n mọ́lé. Àwọn lágbára ìjọba ká tí wọ́n ń gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé passport, tí wọ́n ń gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé owó wọn, tí wọ́n ń gbẹ́sẹ̀ lé gbogbo nǹkan dúkìá àwọn pátápátá, tí wọ́n ń lé orúkọ burúkú mọ́ wọn lórí. Ṣùgbọ́n àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ láabi yìí tí aṣojú wọn gangan dẹ̀ fojú hàn, ìyẹn agbódegbà wọn tó fojú hàn, tí ń bá wọn ṣe okòòwò láàrin ìjọba àpapọ̀ pẹ̀lú àwọn panapa yẹn, àwọn darandaran, àwọn pàyàpàyàn yìí, àwọn túlùtúlù. Wọ́n ń gbé wa, wọ́n ń gbowó, wọ́n ń gbé wa, wọ́n tó ń pa ẹlòmíì tí wọ́n bá tún gbowó lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ gan. Wọ́n ń kó àwọn ọmọ skul, àwọn ọ̀dọ́, wọn ó kó wọn, àtọ̀gá àtọmọléèwé, wọn ó kó wọn tí wọ́n máa lọ bá wọn sùn. Tẹ́kù wọ́n ti tú odidi ìlú káàkiri nílùú tí ò níye lórílẹ̀-èdè yìí. Tó wá jẹ́ wípé àwọn èèyàn wá ń béèrè, wọ́n ń sọ bóòtọ́ níbí rọ́ ni mi ò tí gbàgbọ́. Wọ́n ní ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu sọ wípé agbára òun kò ká wọn, so therefore òun ò lè dá sí ọ̀rọ̀ wọn ní ìlú orílẹ̀-èdè tí ń ṣèjọba lé lórí. Orílẹ̀-èdè tó jẹ́ wípé ó gbégbá àpótí tó múra kankan gbà yẹn pé àsìkò tó ń lọ́kàn yìí, ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí wọ́n ń pa wá bí ẹran, wọ́n ń kó dúkìá wa, wọ́n ń ba dúkìá wa jẹ́, wọ́n ń ṣe tó, wọ́n ń tú didi ìlú, wọ́n ń ba ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn nínú jẹ́. Ààrẹ wa sọ wípé agbára òun kò ká wọn, gẹ́gẹ́ bá a ṣe ń gbọ́, bóòtọ́ ni bírọ̀ ni àti mọ̀ pé agbára òun kò ká wọn. Ṣèyíkì Gumi tó ń jágbódegbà tí ń yan lọ, tí ń yan bọ̀, tẹ́ tó ń kọ́ ọlọ́pàá, tẹ́ ń kó sójà sí lẹ́yìn, bónà ló sì fowó gbà fúnra ẹ̀ ni, tí agbára ìjọba kò ká wọn yìí. Gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n sọ pé wọ́n mọ̀ sí, wọ́n mọ̀ wá, àwọn jọ gbé wọn wá ni, wọ́n jọ ṣe kí ni, wọ́n jọ ṣe kí ni, bóòtọ́ ni bírọ̀ ni a mọ̀, ṣùgbọ́n ìjọba ò lè gbé nìkan kan nù wọn láti ṣèwádìí. Ohun tó wá ń ṣẹlẹ̀ yẹ mọ̀jẹ̀ ká tanra wa o, oríṣiríṣi nǹkan ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí wọ́n dẹ̀ fi hàn yín níbi fídíò yìí, tí fi ń yé wa wípé ibi tó orílẹ̀-èdè yìí gangan ń lọ, ibi tá a dojúkọ Ọlọ́run bá nìkan lọ́mọ̀, oko ìparun dẹ̀ ni, àfikún Ọlọ́run kó kó wa yọ. Nítorí wípé àwọn tó wọ̀lú yìí àtijọ́ gbé tipẹ́, gbogbo nugbó ni wọ́n ti mọ̀, gbogbo nugbó ni ẹ gbà mọ́ wa lọ́wọ́. Wọ́n ń ṣe ọṣẹ́ káàkiri oríṣiríṣi táwọn agbóhùn, àwọn kan ní pé àwọn tí ń wa kùsánú lẹ̀ ìní ń lò wọ́n, wọ́n láwọn ìjọba ń lò wọ́n, wọ́n láwọn China ń gbẹ́rù plane wá lóru, tí wọ́n ń já ohun ìjà fún wọn, tí wọ́n ń ra àwọn ohun àlùmọ́ọ́nì yìí lọ́wọ́ wọn, tẹ́ pé pípa wá tí wọ́n ń pa wá yìí ní wọ́n fi ń tú ìlú káàkiri, tó dàtà àwọn agbègbè tí wọ́n ti ń sà wọ́n sẹ́yìn, kò sẹ́ni kankan tí ó lè débẹ̀ tí ọmọ ti ń lọ ńbẹ̀. Àwọn kan láwọn ìjọba lọ́wọ́ sí, àwọn kan ní àwọn China ni, àwọn kan ní wọ́n gbé iṣẹ́ contract kó lé Jonathan kúrò ńbẹ̀ ni wọn ò tọ́jú ọmọ. Àwa ń gbọ́ ìròyìn lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ẹni tí wàá dẹrú kú kalẹ̀ sí orílẹ̀-èdè yìí báyìí ń sìn báyìí. Ìjọba Amẹ́ríkà ń ṣègbìyànjú láti kó wa yọ nínú rẹ̀, nítorí pé àwọn kìrìsìtẹ́nì kan múròyìn lọ́ba tó yẹ pé ti ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tó gbogbo ayé ń rí ni. Gumi ni wọ́n ní ń pàṣẹ, instead tí ààrẹ orílẹ̀-èdè Tinubu, ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu fi sọ̀rọ̀, Gumi ní ń bájọba Amẹ́ríkà sọ̀rọ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bí àtẹ́pọ̀ lórílẹ̀-èdè. Tí ààrẹ Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu wá sọ pé agbára òun kò ká wọn, ṣùgbọ́n ẹ jẹ́ ká tẹ̀lé mi ká tún lọ wo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ káàkiri iléèwé, ká lọ wo àwọn nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ káàkiri ilé ìjọsìn, káàkiri tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú oko, ká wò bóyá bí a ṣe ń bá a lọ yìí Ọlọ́run bá nìkan ló lè yọ wá. Ìlàdúrà tá a dẹ̀ ń gbà kọ́lọ́mọ jẹ́ kí wọ́n pa orílẹ̀-èdè yìí rẹ́. Àmì àṣẹ, tẹ̀lé mi ká lọ wo tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀.
Happening in Nigeria, a Christian school in Nigeria's northwestern Nigeria state was attacked in the middle of the night. At least 227 people are believed to have been abducted, and this includes school children and teachers. This is the second school kidnapping in Nigeria this week. On Monday, a school was attacked in the neighboring Kebbi State. At least 25 schoolgirls and a teacher were abducted, and at least 2 staff members were killed. Now, 2 of the girls managed to escape, but 23 are still missing. Now, these aren't the only attacks that are making headlines. On Tuesday, gunmen stormed a church service in the Kawara State. At least 2 people were killed and 38 kidnapped. The attack was captured on video because the service was being live streamed. As in the video, you can clearly see and hear gunshots being fired at the church. A church official later said that the gunmen have asked for 100 million naira ransom per kidnapped worshiper. Now, that is about $69,000 per person. 3 major attacks in just 5 days, 2 of them targeting schools, 1 of them a Catholic school. A church also raided with dozens of worshippers kidnapped, and all the attacks taking place in the same region of Nigeria. Now, there has been under tremendous pressure for the attacks because President Donald Trump has taken a special interest in them. He believes these are the targeted attacks against Christians in Nigeria. On October 31st, he designated Nigeria a country of particular concern for alleged religious freedom violations. And today, he put out a post on social media threatening to send the U.S. military guns blazing into the country. The Nigerian government has been scrambling ever since. Nigeria's chief of army staff personally went to Kebbi State on Tuesday. He issued directions to the troops overseeing the rescue of the remaining 23 schoolgirls. Meanwhile, Nigeria's national security advisor has been on a diplomatic mission in the U.S. throughout this week. He reportedly met U.S. War Secretary Pete Hegseth and Joint Chiefs Chairman General Dan Kane on Thursday. Now, details of their meeting were not made public, but the U.S. State Department had made this announcement. Listen in.
The Trump administration is developing a plan to incentivize and compel the Nigerian government to better protect Christian communities and improve religious freedom. This plan will consider U.S. state and Treasury engagement sanctions, as well as possible Department of War engagement on counterterrorism and other efforts to protect religious communities.
The U.S. says it's planning to use a carrot and stick approach with Nigeria. The stick will be sanctions, and Washington also hinted at possible joint counterterrorism operations. Nigeria has been ravaged by insurgencies for decades. Groups like Boko Haram, Islamic State, West Africa province have been behind a string of attacks, but this week's kidnappings have been attributed to armed raiders looking for a ransom. They're colloquially known as bandits. Now, will Trump's interest in Nigeria actually help resolve the country's insurgency problem? We'll have to wait and watch.
Basically, there are 5 elements that threaten national security: war, insurrection, terrorism, natural disasters, and espionage. And out of these 5 elements, 4 of them are in play as far as the Nigerian state is concerned, except for war. It looks as if the Nigerian state is a multiple theater of conflicts. But like you rightly observed, no week has validated this particular issue like the last week we just crossed with the abductions and killings. Besides the matter of Kebbi, Niger, and Kwara State, there was also, killing and abduction of people in Nasarawa State. And it appears as if the sponsors and the perpetrators of terrorism in Nigeria are in a race against an invisible deadline, to be able to validate that designation that America placed on Nigeria as a country of particular concern. They are gravitating from particular concern to special concern here in Nigeria, and it's very, very appalling. our security outfits are stretched to their limit. Their morals are beginning to wane, all because it looks as if the fight against insecurity in Nigeria is a mirage as far as the victory is concerned, and that is very, very demoralizing. And for Africa's largest economy to fall into the hands of terrorists, people who have made enterprise out of terror, is something that is very, very concerning, it's very, very alarming, and it's very, very abhorrent. That is my observation as far as these issues are concerned.
So my understanding is that the Nasarawa's alleged kidnapping was debunked by the school, that such attack never happened. I just wanted to be clear on, on that one. But Dave, what do you think that's because you said that security personnel are also stretched thin themselves and demoralized. When a lot of people analyze this issue, they analyze it from a security standpoint, that is the security personnel who are not doing enough. But you said they are even stretched thin. So where are the gaps?
Upload photos and become a Disney-style princess or wizard in seconds. With Video Express AI, you can choose one main character, maybe a princess or a wizard, and they'll stay
stretched thin. So where are the gaps?
The gap, basically the major gap, is not in the bravery of our gallant men to tackle security issues. Nigerian soldiers and Nigerian security forces, they have excelled in international combat operations. There was a time they say combat crafts and bravery. But how come they cannot tackle these menace of insecurity, either Boko Haram, bandits, or whatever the name they are called or designated? It borders heavily on the matter of sabotage, internal sabotage. For a nation where traitors and terrorists are given a second chance and even recruited into our army, will fear strongly for the matter of sabotage. For instance, in the case situation, the governor confirmed that the intel was given and then they had mobilized, but 25 minutes to the time of the attack, security forces that were placed around to reinforce protection for those children in school. So who informed them that those bandits and terrorists were coming to kidnap, that they left the school? So you see, this matter of internal sabotage is a matter that has to be tackled if at all we'll see an end to the security, to the insecurity in Nigeria. So sabotage ranks very, very high. So no matter how much we equip our army, no matter how much we give all of the intels and sophisticated trainings to them, if the element of internal sabotage is not taken care of, we will continue to see the matter of our troops being ambushed, generals being killed, like it happened, in the last week. It was rumored around that General M. Uba, a brigadier general, was killed at the battlefront alongside some of his men because they ran into ambushes. So ambushes are regular occurrences, all because there is somebody on the inside who profits from the insecurity of Nigeria that tips or gives those information to these terrorists as far as troop movement and activities are concerned. So sabotage is top on the list of what must be tackled before we can be able to close the gap and bring insecurity to a halt in Nigeria.
And interesting, you mentioned the comments of the governor. A lot of people have said, look, that should not be swept under the carpet, that it's not something he should just mention and leave there, that it should now move to being investigated. And if, like you mentioned, sabotage is found to, have a call, that it should be decisively dealt with. I want to get your reaction to that, how you think that comment coming from the governor should be handled.
He's not the first of governors to make such comment that cast an aspersion on the integrity of our security. Before 200 people were massacred and burnt in Yelewata, Benue State, the governor confirmed on national TV that he got the intel 1 month ahead, and then he notified all of the security agencies. But what is the cause of the delay in terms of troop deployment to prevent matters? Because insecurity, particularly terrorism, is better nipped in the bud. It's not when it happens, it boomerangs, that our soldiers begin to parade heavy guns and artillery around. No. They are better nipped in the bud. So he is not the first to have raised that alarm. The Benue State governor did raise that alarm. Katsina State governor did raise that alarm before the Kebbi State governor. So it's a multiple matter of alarms being raised, and there is no timely troop deployment. So we used to talk about early warning signals and communication to security agencies. That has been tackled largely because they get the intels ahead of time and then they notify the security agencies. So if they have to investigate this particular one, then every other alarm signals raised before a terrorism struck has to be investigated too. So it becomes a record that needs to be investigated. Why intelligence are given at the time, yet they strike because there is no troop deployment.
Because as you speak, it just sort of thought to me that every time we talk about security, one of the things that we also mention is intelligence failure and how we handle and manage intelligence, in the country. But you think that, look, it is not generally that our troops cannot manage intelligence, but that perhaps it is an issue of sabotage. But I also wanted to just take this conversation to the strategy that we've had so far. I mean, does it look like we have managed to put together a national plan in terms of how we respond to terrorism or kidnappings in the country, or are we just, reacting basically to whatever is happening and whenever it happens?
What is this VPN? There are so many VPNs, but I'm going to tell you which is the best and why. Now, every VPN is...
You see, a national plan, as far as our philosophy and response towards terrorism is in place. But the matter is that people cannot live in building plans. Plans must graduate to an architecture, a security architecture that is inclusive. What I mean a security architecture that is inclusive is that Nigerians need education to be able to spot, because these terrorists, these activities, they happen usually at the hinterlands, and troop movement or terrorist movement is something that people at the hinterlands know, they see, they report. So if there is proper coordination between the citizens and security agencies, and then, like we say, quick deployment of troops. So a plan is on ground, but a plan is as useless as, if architecture to activate those plans are not in place. For instance, the area complains about why these terrorist activities succeed is that a lot of our hinterlands have rugged terrains. If you look at the Plateau area, the Benue area, the Niger area, the Kwara area, the hinterlands are very rugged terrains that responses in terms of security vehicles are not able to move. So we began to suggest that let the Nigerian army or our security team be equipped with bikes that can navigate those rugged terrain so that response timing is closed in and their response can be quicker to meet security issues in the board. That has largely been provided as part of the security plan for Nigeria. We don't lack security plan at all. It is this matter of sabotage at the point of execution that those are the things that actually, constitute a threat. Today, they say that, okay, a lot of the soldiers recruited are nowhere to be found. Why? The moment they enter into the system and they see all of this sabotage that feeds our young troops to the mount of this monster of terrorism, a lot of them are demoralized. They begin to absent without official leave. So it's a different concept. They are talking about recruiting young people now. Well, why? How will young people be enthusiastic to join the Nigerian army when they see what is happening to their fellow young people that are entering into the army? We have a security plan. We have a response plan in place, but nobody lives in the building plan. It has to graduate into an effective architecture that can be able to protect people both at the urban and also at the rural areas.
And I was reading through a statement by the PDP presidential candidate declare a state of emergency. Do you agree that we're at the point of a state of emergency, and what should it look like?
It has not gone to the place of a state of emergency, but we're at the brink of it right now. At the brink because the audacity at which these terrorists attack schools, kidnap children, attack communities, and kill people, the brazen audacity is something that is very, very concerning. And if this is not tackled, we are at the brink, we are at the edge of the precipice of gravitating or falling into that particular state of emergency right now. If our security has done the effort, and particularly if we open up to external collaborations, and I want to choose this word very, very carefully, regional collaborations, external interventions, not domination. Because if you talk about our sovereignty, which is the basis for which a lot of people are criticizing, America's action or America's plan to invade terrorist enclaves in Nigeria, you see that that sovereignty has been put to test particularly in the last, 1-2 weeks. And what have we done as far as asserting our right as a sovereign state is concerned? Basically, nothing. So it's very, very concerning that we are gravitating towards that state of emergency. We may not have entered it, but every life of Nigerians matter. And anytime a life is taken or a life is subjected to trauma as a result of kidnap is something that should bother the government. So it is time, I think, that will open up to that international collaboration to be able to end this security matter. Why? They said a pregnant woman that is at the point of labor does not choose doctors. And number two, she's not ashamed to get naked. We should not be ashamed in the name of protecting our integrity. And integrity has been stretched and put to test, and we have done nothing about it. We should open up to external collaboration to tackle insecurity in Nigeria. If for nothing, okay, the Christians are united against terrorism. Well-meaning Muslims in Nigeria are also united against terrorism. So they say if the oppressed team up together, the oppressor becomes the prey. So we should isolate insecurity, isolate terrorism, and regardless of our religious beliefs and background, unite against it and tackle that monster. We need international now.
Dave, I'll put you on hold. We'll take a break now, and then when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Stay with us, everyone. You're watching Standpoint.
The president swing into action, giving marching orders to the military. We've seen service chiefs deploy themselves to those conflict theaters and areas of conflict. Those are signs that Nigerians want to see as far as the seriousness of our military is concerned. And the president must be commended for that. Our service chief also must be commended for that. Our gallant men also must be commended for that. They have stepped up the game, even though at great cost to the lives of our security personnel, but they have stepped up the game. And let them continue this particular pressure on them. And then who will be able to instrument all Nigeria and bring them back home to their parents. It borders to taking up this security pressure to the next level. And let there be coordination too across the ranks of our security outfit. There was a time that there was a beef between the Chief of Army Staff and the Chief of Air Staff, and the Chief of Air Staff would not deploy air support against terrorists. It became a beef that was happened until the Nigerian Army even had a proposal to get their own helicopters or battle helicopters to be able to intervene on time. But as you see now, these new service chiefs, they seem to be working together in harmony. So let there be coordination such that anywhere airstrike is necessary, the Air Force comes in. Anywhere coastline, operations are necessary, the Navy should step in quickly. And anywhere the ground operations are necessary, our infantry and other aspects of the National Army should step in quickly. So we just need to up the game as far as the pressure on terror in Nigeria is concerned. And I am sure that with our current capacity, and if sabotage is removed out of the way, we will be able to bring these girls back or bring these children back to their families very, very soon. I'm confident that we have the capacity and we can do it.
I mean, Dave, there's a lot to talk about. There's the issue of the Safe School Initiative, which has got a lot of money, yet, was still seeing kidnappings in school. I wish we could talk about that. But I just wanted, finally to talk about the brief or the public hearing at the U.S. Congress on the designation of Nigeria as a country of particular concern. Right now, we have a high-level power delegation in the U.S. led by the NSA. What should be the talking points for you in terms, because you've mentioned collaboration, what should be a talking point as we engage with the U.S.?
You see, this space of denials by our government and various organs and agents of government, they are actually political actions to take as far as the race to redeem our face and our image is concerned. But beneath the ground, in the sideline meetings, we should actually put our hands bare and request this support. We may not request it openly in the media, but those back-end talks, those sideline meetings that our delegations are attending, actually, we should request this external collaboration from America. In doing so, the terms and conditions, will weigh them in. If they border on the sacrifice of our sovereignty, like it was in the time of Obasanjo, one of the chief of army staff had to resign his position, all because in the fight against terror, the external people who came to collaborate and to help us they requested that all of our military installations be open for their scrutiny. These are aspects of sovereignties we cannot trade off. So when there was a face-off, a debacle, I think the president and on saying that never anywhere. So as soon as we can defend the flame, we should want the fire of international cooperation. And then I don't express here as far as the position of that delegation is concerned. But one thing I am sure that anytime you want to get a team done, we have to remove the politics from it and get it done quickly as fast as possible. So, with the matter of intervention, there's a still congressional hearing. Ours to be that we talk from the lead. But on the second stage, we institutional support. A congressional hearing is nothing but the political approach of your.
We have to leave with that, Dave.
Go through. You say?
We have to leave with the time. I know to make it.
So, we still not be able to be able to take it or approve intervention. Ask.
Thank you so much. It's always glad to have you on and your brilliant analysis, public affairs analyst, Dave Ogule.
Thank you very much.
All right, that's Standpoint this week. Remember, you can watch the rebroadcast at 11 p.m. nights and 5 p.m. on Sunday morning. Thanks for watching. I am.
The stages your company has been ignoring, writing, simple, long, explain stories.